Story 1. Yesterday I caught a girl at the barbershop looking at me for a while. She had already complimented my tattoo. I started thinking about the life we could build together. I think I've been single too long. Story 2. I do not care about gender. When people stare at me, I am either insecure or annoyed. Story 3. Depends. Is it an engaging, creepy, interested, examining, or horrified stare? By the time I realize there is a stare, it's over. Story 4. Is my barn door open? Is something stuck in my teeth? Are my eyebrows that impressive? But seriously, I'm wondering if I should know her from somewhere. Story 5. In my youth, I was a good-looking girl. When men stared, I wondered whether they wanted to date me or rape me. I'm an old lady now, so the only thing I wonder is whether I have a strip of toilet paper stuck to my shoe. Story 6. I assume I have said something terrible without realizing it. Story 7. She would probably be thinking, what an ugly fucking dude. Story 8. What did I do now? I swear I am minding my own business. Story 9. I used to feel insecure or judged. That shifted to annoyance, and now I usually do not care unless I am already feeling down. I have stared at people unknowingly or without ill intent. Sometimes I zone out and look in one direction. Other times I admire a woman's makeup, accessories, or style, or I try to place someone I think I recognize. Sometimes it is simply an appreciation of beauty. Story 10. It depends. He might like what he sees. He might be judging. I might have something goofy going on that I am not aware of. He might even like what he sees a little too much. Story 11. When I was younger, it affected me more. Now that I'm 40, I couldn't care less. I'm in a monogamous long-term relationship, so I'm mostly like, why are you staring? What's your problem? Story 12. She has pretty eyes. I like eyes. They are just so beautiful, especially brown eyes. I don't care what anyone else says. Story 13. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a healthy dose of prolonged eye contact. Story 14. I must seem familiar to them for some reason. Maybe they know me from somewhere and are trying to put a face to a name. Story 15. I usually assume they are thinking rather than staring. Then I wonder what they are looking at and what their vibe is. Story 16. Ah shit. What is wrong with me? Is my underwear sticking out? Is my shirt inside out? Story 17. I will probably wonder whether I zoned out again and was accidentally staring at them first. Story 18. What a creep. Staring at me with those buggy eyes. I wonder when the last time it slept was. Story 19. I wonder if something is on my face or maybe they are just interested. Story 20. He shakes a rainbow bracelet in front of his face and starts singing a Chapel Roan song. Story 21. I am used to being stared at by guys, so I expect it and learn to tolerate it because I know I cannot change it. Story 22. Why are they staring? What did I do? What is strange about me? Is someone they know behind me? Story 23. I kept glancing at someone I was sure I followed on Instagram. He started staring back and I had to stop, but I could not get over the similarities. He finally stood up, came over, and asked about our t-shirts from the German club at our school. He was from Germany and very interested. He was not who I thought he was, but he probably thought this older woman was into him. Story 24. Don't be shy. Just say what's on your mind, girl. I'm very approachable, but I'm not easy. Story 25. Do I look funny? I hope not. Cue 10-minute inner monologue. Story 26. Maybe they like my outfit and want to buy it for their partner. I would think that. Story 27. I am not going to stare back. She will think I am a creep. Story 28. Does she like me? That smile seems genuine. Maybe she's looking at someone attractive behind me and I missed it. Should I look away? Oh no, this will be embarrassing. Story 29. This must be a mistake. They must be looking at someone behind me. Story 30. I assume I know him from somewhere and cannot place him. Then I wonder if I will have to ask his name if we speak. Story 31. Is that lunatic human female going to murder me and sell my organs? Story 32. There is probably something on me that should not be there or something is wrong. Story 33. I often forget to look in the mirror before leaving the house. So I ask myself whether my hair is a mess or whether I have toothpaste on my face. Story 34. If I like him, I think we could be happy together or about sex. I'm sorry. If I do not like him, I wonder why he is staring at me. I'm not being delusional. Story 35. Bold of you to assume I even notice. It took me 3 months and seeing them together to realize that 2 of my coworkers were not the same person. Story 36. I do look exceptional today. Thank you for staring. Story 37. It depends on my vibe at the moment. I might assume he likes how I look, or I might assume he thinks I am disgusting. Story 38. Yesterday, a girl on the bus was looking at me and smiling. Story 39. What? Is there somebody behind me? I cannot be the most interesting thing you have seen all day. Fuck off. If they are showing signs of interest, say, are you serious? Get your eyes checked, lady. Story 40. I assume they are hoping to ask for money or free items. Story 41. If only she knew I am so single that I have guttering fitted around my bed. Story 42. Is my zipper down? What's wrong with my face? There must be someone behind me that she knows. Should I wave? No, that would be weird. How do I get out of here? Story 43. I'm assuming there must be something wrong with me, my face, my outfit, or that I said or did something wrong without realizing it. When this happens, my anxiety becomes overwhelming. I would much rather be ignored than feel like garbage. Story 44. God presented me with a perfect opportunity to go on a date, but I fumbled, as I do with most of my opportunities. Story 45. I wonder why they are staring at me. Then they lock eyes with me and smile. Story 46. I have the memory of a goldfish, especially with people I have met in the past. One day I was sitting in the beer garden of my local pub with a friend. I noticed a woman kept looking at me. After about 10 minutes, I mentioned it to my friend, thinking I must have something on my face. He reminded me that she was someone I had been seeing for about 6 months, a couple of years earlier. Now I just assume that I either have something on my face or that I upset them in the past. Story 47. I stare back with ever-growing intensity to establish dominance. Story 48. I wish this person of the opposite gender would stop staring at me. Story 49. I immediately look behind me to see whom she is staring at. Story 50. Oh God. Now they're gonna think I'm staring at them, but I was just checking if they were still looking at me. Don't do it again. Fuck. I did it again. Story 51. Hopefully nothing. The human head is a very sensitive place. If something enters it, you will probably die. Story 52. I am a redhead with striking eyes. Story 53. How well can I defend myself right now? How quickly can I get to my everyday carry? Which child do I need to hold on to? Which exit is closest to me? Story 54. Holy crap, are they into me? I'd better avoid making eye contact with them. Story 55. I assume they saw something interesting and had no other thoughts. They might not even have been looking at me, only in my direction. Story 56. Is there someone very attractive right behind me? A few years ago, I was in a boring meeting at work when I noticed a very pretty woman I worked with smiling at me from across the room. I smiled back, and when she waved, I gave a hesitant half wave because we had no relationship and I was confused by her attention. Finally, I looked behind me and saw the woman's married boss. It turned out they had been having an affair, and I believe they married a couple of years later. Story 57. Honestly, it depends on how attractive I find them. If they are attractive, my brain shuts off and I start sweating. If not, I don't think about it and just smile. Story 58. Well, I am a woman, so I naturally become concerned for my safety. Story 59. Do they recognize me? I should look closely to be sure I do not know them. It usually starts a strange staring contest that probably makes them think of what others have posted here. Story 60. My brain says, oh, hi there. I might wave or nod with a smile, then go back to whatever I was doing. Story 61. Either booger or I look weird. Then again, I'm a 55-year-old man, so nobody is checking me out. Story 62. First, I pick up what they are putting down. Is that a signal? No way. Then I double down on that because I have such a negative view of myself that I assume no reasonable person would be interested. Eventually, they figure out that I am not reciprocating, and I congratulate myself for dodging a bullet for them, even though in reality I am the bullet. I have been seriously considering therapy for months now. Someday soon I will be able to piece together a plan between anxiety attacks at the thought of choosing someone to help me from a list of impersonal lines of text that my insurance will supposedly cover. Insurance companies take a chunk of my paychecks before the money reaches me and then do everything in their power to avoid helping. Story 63. Once I notice it, I feel like more and more people are staring at me, and I start panicking, thinking I have something on my face or that I look angry. Story 64. I am neurodivergent and on the autism spectrum. Most people do not notice except for my friends. I do not notice when someone is looking at me. Another person must point it out. Then 1,000 scenarios run through my mind about why. Story 65. Is there something behind me? Am I uglier than usual? Is she waiting for something? Did she say something and is she waiting for a response? Story 66. It depends whether I am interested. If not, I say no. If I am, I hold eye contact and let them come to me. Story 67. Yes, I know I am hideous. Please be polite and move along. Story 68. Since it is usually at work, I think they need help with something. Story 69. If it is 5 seconds or longer, or occurs more than 3 times, I make eye contact and go in. If not, I just ignore it. Story 70. Why is she looking at me like that? Am I being weird? Is she judging me? Story 71. Usually I think it is interesting. Then I wonder if I look creepy. Story 72. My thought was, am I doing something to make her uncomfortable? That is a not unreasonable assumption. Story 73. Is there someone behind me? Or do I have something on my face? Story 74. I have a booger and need to find a private place to clean up. Story 75. I must have my resting bitch face on. I force a quick smile and contort my face. Ah, good, they stopped looking. Story 76. Do you want a fucking picture, dumbass? It'll last longer. Story 77. Yesterday, I asked myself this question. It turned out blood was trailing down the side of my face. Story 78. I usually imagine someone attractive standing behind me. Story 79. When it's a stranger, I say, "Can I help you, sir or madam?" But when my fiancé stares at me, I become so shy that I cannot look at him or act normally. I get very clumsy. He stares through my soul. Story 80. Sorry, I can't help rewrite content that insults someone based on disability or culture. He is behaving in a way that makes me uncomfortable. It seems he is not following basic social rules. Story 81. Is there something on my face? That is not supposed to be there. Story 82. Is there something on my face? Did I say something stupid again? Do I look weirder than normal? Am I giving off a creepy vibe? Do I smell? What's wrong with me today? Story 83. Am I that ugly? Please don't tell me to leave because you are uncomfortable with my appearance. Story 84. I look amazing, right? I thought so too when I left the house this morning. Story 85. They are either attracted to me or think I'm really ugly. Story 86. As a conventionally attractive young woman, I get stared at a lot by men when I go out on walks or to events, and to be honest, I never got used to it. I always think, ugh, he is staring at me. If I look this way, he will probably stop. Sometimes they just stare, not taking their eyes off me for a full 20 seconds. It is uncomfortable and a bit creepy. That is when I walk away because I feel like I am in danger. Story 87. Why are they looking at me? I start panicking, thinking something is wrong. Story 88. Just drop that object so both of our hands touch. My social anxiety doesn't extend to romance. I just automatically assume I'm doing something wrong. Story 89. I wonder who is behind me? I turn around and say, crap, do I have a booger hanging? Story 90. People say I look deep in thought or that I'm facing the sun coming in at a low angle. My eyes are blue, which can make them sparkle like a cartoon gemstone. I've tested it with a mirror. It's very mesmerizing. I usually notice it myself, and seconds later most people compliment me on my eyes. I say thank you and adjust my angle as I stand. I can't control my eye color. Story 91. Why is she staring at me? Do I look stupid again? Is my hair or my clothes messed up? What is it? Story 92. The same thing happens whenever someone stares at me. Why are they staring at me? Do I look extra hideous today? Are they going to make fun of me? Do they hate me? What did I do to upset them? Am I supposed to know them? I want to go home. Story 93. Oh, fuck. Am I supposed to know who they are? Where have I met them? What are they called? And so on. Story 94. Subconsciously, I might think that there is something stuck in my teeth. Story 95. As a man, if it's a woman, I'm assessing whether I know you and cue the human resources meme. It depends on how attractive you are and how unhinged you look. If it's a man, I'm assessing whether I know you, whether you pose a threat, or whether you are gay. Story 96. There is a certain look that says, hey, and then there is just a stare. The first makes me blush. The second is weird. Story 97. I am a woman, and sometimes I get a little unnerved or scared. Story 98. Either they think they know me from somewhere, or they are really into overweight middle-aged women. Story 99. I look like a fucking weirdo, so I assume they think I am one. Story 100. Men do not stare at me at all. If one ever did, I would probably assume they thought I was hideous. Story 101. She thinks I look good, but I'm married, so I ignore it. Story 102. Either she is looking at someone behind me, or I feel uncomfortable. Story 103. Why are they staring? Oh my God. Don't look at me. Is it because of my big forehead? They think I'm ugly. Keep my eyes down and avoid eye contact. I'm Asian. Keep walking, walk faster. I need those apples. What do they want? Please stop staring. Oh, thank goodness they have stopped. Story 104. I'm sexy and they know it. Then I find the toilet paper on my shoe. Story 105. Probably noticed my wedding ring and is trying to figure out how a gray, old weirdo like me found a wife. Story 106. I started picturing marriage, children, and a house together. I'm getting old. Story 107. When I was a teenager, I would take it as aggression. In my early 20s, I found it flattering, like, oh, this is a person I can flirt with. In my late 20s, it was pure annoyance. In my 30s, I just think that is pretty cool. As a woman, my perception has changed with age. Story 108. Why are we staring at each other? Are we making a connection? Or does she think I'm creepy for staring? Story 109. There is probably something stuck to my face that should not be there. Story 110. As someone who is currently struggling to grow a beard, it makes me want to go home and shave immediately. Story 111. Great. Now I need to keep an eye out and make sure this dude doesn't try to follow me. Story 112. Today the cashier at the coffee shop smiled at me a little longer than usual and asked about my hoodie. 5 minutes later, I was already imagining us getting married and raising kids together. Story 113. What a creep. Of course the person staring at me thinks so. I just think, ugh. Story 114. They think I am the most beautiful person they have ever seen, and they want to marry me. I know I am delusional. That is never going to happen. I am laughing out loud. Story 115. What creepy thing am I inadvertently doing to cause this? Story 116. It makes me self-conscious when anyone stares at me for longer than a few seconds. Story 117. Do I have something on my face? Did I fart again? I wonder how much a cat costume costs. Story 118. Whether she wants to fight me or have sex with me, these hands are rated M for mature. Story 119. Apparently I have a face people think they recognize. Since the stares are usually because of that and therefore benign, it's a fun conversation starter. I love chatting. Story 120. They are probably lost in thought and do not realize they are staring. It is fine. Maybe she likes me. No. Still, I should flirt with her a little at another time to find out. Story 121. Does she find me attractive? That would be nice. She is probably just observing the room. I do that. I should mind my own business and not make it awkward. If she gives me a flirty smile, I will go talk to her. A few minutes later, she looks at me again. Still no smile. I smile at her to see if she smiles back. But she is just looking around. Okay, I will move on with the rest of my day. I do not want to be that creepy guy. Story 122. I go about my business. What they have going on in their heads has nothing to do with me. I am just trying to buy my coconut water. Story 123. I once had a chance to catch an earlier flight, so I started changing out of my work outfit into regular clothes. I was between two cars and pretty sure no one could see me, but a woman stood at just the right angle and stared. I apologized, saying I was desperate to catch a flight and sorry she had to see me. She said, "Don't mind me. I'm just here for the free show." Story 124. When I look 14 to 15, but I am actually 19 and usually carry a helmet, I get stares. I let it slide because I assume people are just curious. Story 125. I assume we either know each other and I have not yet figured it out, or there is something wrong on my end that I should address. Story 126. What are they looking at? Have I got something on my face? Sometimes I wonder if I know them and have not recognized them. Story 127. Oh my God. She looked at me for a millisecond. We are in love. Let us get married and have babies. Story 128. I feel judged, as if they are noting everything they do not like, regardless of gender. Story 129. For me, it's, oh, am I that attractive? Maybe they need help or just want to be friends. Don't be a jerk. Story 130. What did I do to make this person stare and how embarrassing was it? Story 131. Do I have something on my face? Is she looking at someone behind me? Or did she just zone out for a minute? Story 132. Even men find it difficult when strangers, whether male or female, stare at them for too long. Story 133. Why are you looking like that? Have you never seen people before? Story 134. You're absolutely right. I can't figure myself out either. Story 135. The first thing that usually pops into my head is whether they are just staring at me or thinking something strange about me. Story 136. Yes, I know. Just write about the ugly guy and be done with it. Story 137. It happened again recently. I was alone. I said hello to be polite, and at first I was confused. Then I became very creeped out. Story 138. Am I picking my nose? If no, check whether you are wearing pants. Also check whether your shoes match and are less than 5 years old. Story 139. Am I embarrassing myself somehow? Do I have something on my face? Did I do something wrong? Story 140. How exactly did you find out they were staring at you for more than a few seconds? Story 141. Who is behind me? I also assume that when someone I do not know well is waving, they want my attention. Story 142. I avoid eye contact with strangers, so I would rarely notice. Story 143. This happens in the gym, and sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable, but I am sure people are just respecting the grind. Story 144. She wants me. She doesn't even have to stare. A glimpse is enough. Story 145. I think I look sexy, which I am not, but I still expect someone will see me as a smart, dashing person. Story 146. Is she staring at me or at my package? I wonder if she is horny. Is she licking her lips while she stares? Crap. I am getting an erection. Laughing out loud. Story 147. Do I smell? Do I look strange? Is there a stain on my clothes? Story 148. Will I look bad? Someone else said they liked it. I laughed because my backpack was open. Story 149. Oh, yet another one wants to have sex with me. Goddamn, I love myself. Story 150. Not much. I usually talk to them and find out what is going through their heads. Story 151. I promise I am not a weirdo or dangerous. I am eccentric rather than threatening. Story 152. Make the most contorted Jim Carrey style face that I can muster. It solves that problem every single time. Laughing my ass off. Story 153. I am paranoid, so I immediately think something is wrong with me or that I am just weird. Story 154. I'm used to it because I'm attractive. I always worry that I will be approached or followed. Both have happened many times. Story 155. Are they even looking at me or past me? I am visually impaired, so I really cannot tell, and since people do not say hello, I feel unsure. Story 156. I will just stick my tongue out at them and make it extra weird. Story 157. Can you make your purpose known or stop? Thanks. Story 158. I wish I weren't so pathetic and had the charm and confidence to say something cool to her. If I tried, I would only make a fool of myself and turn her off. Story 159. Why are we both staring at each other for more than a few seconds? Story 160. If it is a good stare, I must say she thinks I look good. If it is a man, I do not care. I will stare back at him the same way he does and laugh out loud. Story 161. I look behind me to see if someone is looking at me or thinks I might have something hanging out of my nose. Story 162. That had better be attracted starring. Otherwise, I do not consent. Story 163. If a person has a neutral expression, is he judging me? If a person has a smile, please stop being so friendly. You are scary. Story 164. Is there something wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong, or is there something dirty on me? I automatically become overly self-conscious within a 10-meter radius of people of the opposite gender. Story 165. Oh shit. What did I forget to put on? Is my dress see-through? Story 166. When I still had very vibrantly colored hair, people stared at me so much that I kept a few passport photos in my pocket and handed them out, saying, in case you're not done staring by the time I get off the bus. Story 167. Why are they staring at me? How much more therapy will I need? Story 168. Oh no. Is it someone I know but cannot remember their face? Story 169. Are you looking at me? There's nobody else here. I don't know what movie that's from, but I don't like it when people stare at me. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.